Okay, we're finally live after technical issues and creation and all that other bullshit. Let's see. Actually, go back to. All right. So last time you guys finished up the siege of Briarfort. Let's see. Lloyd, Zoe was one of the people that got trapped in the Briarfort was an elven fortress, and the orcs laid siege to it, and you guys got rescued. The siege got broken last session, and you were one of the people that got trapped in there, and you ended up fighting alongside this lot, and so you've kind of decided that. It's probably best to stick close to them, safety in numbers and all that sort of thing.
Okay.
All right, so all of you go ahead and roll your relationship dice, at least those of you who didn't roll them. And keep track of any 5s or 6s again. And I'm going to turn my phone to silent because I forgot. That's better. Are there any atrocious rolls for me to make fun of?
Yeah, mine was terrible.
That wasn't very good, but it could have been worse.
Sure.
Brandy rolled 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, but like Brandy's, for example, that's worse.
It's geometric progression.
It's not even the what's it called, the Fibonacci sequence. That would have been a shitty roll, but it would have been a cool roll.
It's always a cool roll.
1, 1, 2, or you could have done part of the Fibonacci and done 2, 3, 5. All right, did everybody roll? I don't think Lloyd rolled.
Lloyd just got a phone call. He'll be right back.
Okay, that's fine. He can roll when he gets back.
Yeah.
So let's see. Going down. So you guys are kind of you're not ordered because technically you're not under the direction of anybody here, but it's suggested that you guys might want to go poke around the abandoned siege camp to see just whatever you can find. You might be able to find something useful. You might be in terms of equipment. You might find intelligence. You might find you're just not sure what you might find there. You might find prisoners, whatever. So it suggests that you guys go while things are being organized inside the fortress. They figure you guys can take care of yourselves, and that you should go and explore the camp and see what is to be found there. Okay, so let's see, who we're going to start with. We're going to start with Matt. Matt hasn't talked a lot this morning. And that's as good a reason as any to pick Matt, who is unfortunately always on the end, or one of the ends, I should say.
I will keep that in mind. If I talk a lot, I won't get picked first. Yes.
That is not necessarily true. You will never get picked first so long as Anna's here, because Anna will be on the end.
Yay.
It's just whoever's on the end right there. So
Yep.
I'm sorry you guys drew the short straw in that respect. So starting with Matt, describe an area of the camp that might have something useful, and describe an NPC who is already there searching.
What was the name of that elf we hate?
The one, Darius Redcloak.
Yes.
Yeah. In the orc commander's tent, surely there will be some kind of signs of their plans or orders, and or something useful there. there to give us an idea of where the orcs are going, what they're planning. And Darius Redcloak is there already.
That's cheating.
Around.
Of course, he's a cheating cheater who cheats.
Exactly.
Cheater, pumpkin eater.
All right, so Lloyd's not back, I'm assuming.
No, it's on the phone.
We will skip him in this respect. Let's see. Gordon, you find something else in that area. Tell me what it is, and also tell me how you interact with that NPC.
The one he described, or
Yes.
okay. I see in the back of the tent there is a prisoner that's been tied to the top of the stakes that this guy's completely ignored. He's rummaging through papers and everything trying to find something that'll help him save some face. And so I walk into the tent and push him to the ground. Can you not see that there's someone in need?
He looks over and says, I don't see anybody worth mentioning here. It's a filthy human. He's clearly dead. If not now, then shortly.
Brother Maynard picks up this sorry excuse for an elf and tosses him out of the front flap of the tent, and then goes to the prisoner.
Okay.
And assesses its needs.
He opens the tent back up. He's covered in mud and probably worse things in mud, given it's an orc camp. And he looks at you and at first he looks like he's going to go for his weapon, and then he just kind of stalks away with a huff. And no, you don't have to be an asshole all the time as a GM. It just helps. Unless you're playing certain games, in which case then you want to be an asshole all the time.
No, that guy definitely deserves to be played as an asshole.
Yeah. It's entertaining, let's put it that way. Alright, and you also find a while you're getting this guy off, he really is not long for this world. But he presses something into your hand as he's expiring and says, keep it secret, keep it safe. And yes, I totally did. Because I needed something off the top of my hand. No, I need something better than that. No. You are getting a magic item. What magic items do you have already?
I have the shield and a restyled elven cloak.
Let me give you something smaller. Something that he could have reasonably
Kept secret.
Yeah, I'm not sure you want to know where he kept the secret.
Yeah, I was thinking that same thing.
No.
Am I needed for creation stuff?
You weren't needed for creation stuff. You will be needed now, though. Okay, you get a. I don't know if this is in the list of usual ones, but you get a necklace of life stone. It looks like it's something that's done in the stylings of the Lich King. So even though it is something to keep you from death, It looks like it's clearly something that was given out to favored cultists of the Lich King. It's got the usual death motifs, skulls, bones. It's like a death metal band. Just imagine a death metal band cover. It's kind of like that, with a glowing green stone in the middle.
Nice.
And let's see. Let me see if it's on the PDF. I don't think so. Either way, I'll just describe it to you. I'll get the rest of it later.
I've got it
You
in the
get a
book.
plus
so.
5. Yeah, you've got the book. Then yes, it's under there. It's page 290. All
Yep,
right.
I got it.
All right, moving on then. This is gonna be weird. All right, so Gordon, now you describe an area of the camp that can be searched for something useful, and describe an NPC who is already there.
There's a somewhat large pile of elf corpses in the middle of the camp. Some look like they've been hacked on. Others have just been piled up. It looks like they were scouts that got caught by the orcs and were being used as food supplies. And
They must have been bards. And
the new commander of Briarfort, after the old commander died, the one that gave me the shield, is there, and she's pulling bodies down and looking through them to see who the lost are, so that she can inform their next of kin, and saying prayers over them as she does it.
Okay. And Brandy, did you roll any 5s or 6s?
I did not.
All right, then you don't get any cool loot, but you still get to describe what you find and how you interact with that NPC.
Okay. I get it. What did I find in the pile? Does it have to be loot?
No, it doesn't have to be. In fact, in this case, it's not loot. It's just something, some found item that might be interesting to find, not necessarily to keep.
One of the elves was a scout, and I found a map that he had drawn of an area not far away that had some unusual markings indicating an area that might be good to explore, maybe troop movements for the orcs.
Okay, that'll work. And how do you interact with the acting commander?
I approach him and
Perfect.
describe to him what I found and ask him, sorry, thank you, what she'd like me to do with it.
With the map itself?
Yes.
All right. She takes a look at it, and says, "This is a very valuable find. This could be of great use to us going forward. I can't give you anything for it here, but when we all get back to the fort, I can throw a little money your way if that's what you'd like."
Money is always appreciated.
I'm sure. She seems to have you pegged pretty well as The mercenary type.
I'm not that hard to figure out.
Okay. So now, Brandy, you get to describe a part of the camp and an NPC who's there.
After giving her the map, I wander off to an area that's a little wooded. And I see a pile of discarded weaponry, orcish, it looks like, that was probably stripped from the dead orcs and left there. And rooting through it, I find a gnome picking out parts and pieces, little things, not what I would think would be useful, like weapons or armor.
Okay, that'll work.
You need any more, or that's good?
No, that'll work. Okay. All right, then go on to Anna. Did you roll any 5s or 6s?
I did not.
Okay, so you don't get to find any you don't get to find any actual useful loot, just trinkets and other oddities. But describe what sort of things you find and how you interact with the NPC.
Well, I'll go up to the gnome, who I don't recall seeing at the Briarfort, and ask, is it a him or a her?
Him.
Ask him what his name is and what he's looking for. Is he curious to find something? Maybe I can help him.
He looks at you and like you've interrupted his great life's work, and after a moment he's kind of reluctantly tells you that he's not looking for anything in specific. He's just looking for things which might be useful in the future. And you can help him if you really want to, but you'd probably be getting in the way.
Well, I will. I will say that I don't wish to be an inconvenience, and but I will. So I will say I will help him move some of the heavier items if he needs help with assistance in that regard. Like he's sort of described as sort of moving past like the heavy like axes and things and looking for other things. So I'm sort of trying to move stuff around for him.
He kind of nods his reluctant thanks, and he doesn't really talk a whole lot. He's clearly concentrating on what he's doing, but at least he doesn't yell at you or anything like it looks like he was probably going to do earlier. And what kind of interesting things did you find?
We find besides the sort of weapons and armor, which he wasn't really interested in, I'm not interested in either. We find things like
And Anna's for. People when they're frozen mid-sentence always look just. It's not fair to laugh at them, but you kind of laugh at them.
Humanity. That she wasn't expecting to find.
We missed all of it.
Yeah, we didn't hear all of it. You pretty much froze right after you started talking.
Of course. I said that she found things like small mementos from home, little portraits that of like orc families and orc, probably sweethearts, and she thought this was interesting because she wasn't something that she was necessarily expecting to find, and it gave her new insight into how orcs behave, and maybe they're closer to us than we think that they are.
Okay, that works. All right, so you go ahead and describe an area of the camp and an NPC that's there.
Over where the siege engines were, there are sort of the remains of the Oops, I bumped out again.
Yeah, we know that's
Yeah.
Coming
Stupid.
back to vengeance.
Yeah, yeah. Where the siege engines were, she's going over there to look and see if there's anything that can be scavenged from the siege engines to help repair the fort. And she sees that there's a dwarf engineer who's over there also looking at the remains of the siege engines. His name is, what is his name going to be? Rabat Stonefist.
okay. All right, Lloyd. Lloyd, who's using Dropbox. Describe. You didn't roll any 5s or 6s, so describe what interesting Trotskys you find and how you interact with this dwarven engineer.
Searching through just kind of walking around. I see. Real quick question. The area is strewn with corpses of orcs as well as our enemies as orcs as well as our friends as elves, correct?
Yes, there's corpses of all varieties.
Okay. So walking around, I see a orc body with armor on that looks like it has an insignia of kind of a middling high-level enlisted officer, NCO.
You guys are attributing considerably more organization to the orcs than actually exists. But by all means, continue.
Okay, he has a really big axe and he's uglier than everyone else. Therefore, I assume he was in charge somehow. Okay.
Yes, an officer is pushing it.
I see a particularly large orc with a particularly large axe, and there's 3 or 4 elves around him that it looks like he took all of them down and then was finally overcome. And I pick up the axe, drag it over to the dwarf because I don't expect the dwarf to come over and look at what I found. Show it to him and explain what I've discovered, and that maybe this is an orc of this size and one who would carry this kind of a weapon would be something of decent standing in their clan or whatever organizational thing the orcs have. So, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord kind of thing. Might be a good idea to look lively about the area for people wanting payback. Or orcs wanting payback, I suppose.
Okay. So is that your trinket and your interaction all in one?
Yes.
All right. So with that being the case, go ahead and describe an area of the camp and an NPC to be enacted.
Going back over to where the orc was that I found, kind of pick around him, see if there aren't any more clues to see if there's anything else that we should be worried about. This time when I'm over there, I hear a moan off in the general area to my left, and find a very short female elf over there that has been bitten deep on the side of. There's pretty good chance that it was the axe that bit her deep, and she's obviously not going to last real long. I try to give her as much comfort as I can, and kind of ease her pain while she passes.
Okay.
And just generally console her that she was the one that brought down the orc, and I get her account of how that happened.
I just asked you to describe what the NPC was, not how you interacted with it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Perk elf.
Anyway, Matt, how would you like to interact with the NPC? What things did you find?
He picks up the elf and I say carry her back towards Briarfort to get medical attention. He kind of knows she probably won't make it, but
Okay. And aside from that, what interesting little bits did you find when you were looking around the area? Anything?
I don't know.
Alright, then you didn't find anything. You are a bad person and you should feel bad. For not finding anything. Okay. Moving on. So you guys kind of poke around and you find a couple of useful things and do some interacting with the other people who are messing around with the camp, but eventually you start to head back to Briarfort. When you get there, one of the guards directs you to meet with an aristocratic, I can speak, I promise, looking elf in very elegant-looking silver armor, and the guard names him as the Duke Eobrin, and he's apparently the leader of the forces who broke this siege, and he's been looking for an intrepid and useful group of people like yourselves to perform a special kind of mission. And you get over to talk to him, and he's very polite. He's very courteous. He's heard of the good things that you guys did during the siege, and he's very appreciative. And he basically says that he needs you to do something special, and he goes into a little more detail about it. The orcs that you guys just beat were sent to slow the elven army down and prevent them from getting to the Dwarf King until after General Ghoul has taken Forge entirely, or at least is in a position where she won't be easily dislodged from around Forge. There's another force that's crossing the old wall, which seems to pretty much be doing. The intent is something similar. They're just there to slow you down, bleed the elven army dry, and just make them pay for every step taking. But the Duke has an idea, and he basically wants you to go sneak into the elven camp and escort a saboteur, a dark elf saboteur, into the elven camp and basically cause all kinds of hell and cause the orc army to look to the wrong way. While the elven army more or less sneaks past, and so he says you've got full reign to do it however you'd like. He'll have Xanth meet you near Briarfort's gate when you're ready to go, and aside from that, the plan is yours. You can do whatever you'd like. Xanth has his own. Not necessarily his own plan, but his own special abilities that he can put to use in wreaking havoc in the orc camp. So what is your plan?
Well, Brother Maynard is not good at the sneaky. So he looks towards the member of the party that might actually know something about sneaking.
I was going to say, my vote is to kind of get in quietly and take them out one by one as nimbly as possible.
You're not. If you're going and trying to take out the entire army one by one, you're going to be there for days. You're in an army encampment. There are thousands of orcs there. You're probably going to dull every blade you have.
But then take out as many of the large, big ones, the ones that look like they're in charge, create as much chaos as we can.
Just hit and run, draw them out.
Can we draw out sections? Like do a...
I reiterate, you're about to go poking an entire army.
Don't we want to maybe create some sort of distraction for them and sort of lead them maybe in the wrong direction?
That's what I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
I mean,
not hit for the purpose of actually killing many. Just poke. Hey, run over this way.
Yeah, it's sort of like, hey, we're over here, kind of, and then try to like retreat. Then say, hey, we're over here, and see if you can sort of like be throwing breadcrumbs at them.
This is an encampment, right?
Yes.
Are there tents?
There are tents.
Who likes fire?
I'm okay with fire.
Fire's
Will that make them move or make them stop and stay and take care of their tents?
They're gonna chase us.
Well, some of them will stop and take care of their tents. Some of them will chase us. That will at least divide their force. And it will occupy them for at least a little while and probably hurt them in the long run to be able to allow our comrades a better purchase of, if they don't have tents and they don't have some of their crucial supplies, this is the kind of thing that will break them eventually and make our job easier sooner.
I can, if it's part of the plan, I can summon a fire elemental or a wind. I can summon many types of elementals, but a fire elemental, a wind elemental, to sort of wreak havoc amongst them.
So break down your plan. Break it into 3 parts, and tell me what those 3 parts are.
Amok, apparently.
So if you spell amok.
First part of the plan should be to scout the camp and determine its layout, in my opinion.
Okay.
Good plan.
So what's the second part? Keep in mind when you're planning all this, you have to escort this dark elf into the camp. You just can't go around the edge. He has to be in the middle to do his thing, or at least inside somewhere to do his thing. So you can't just completely skirt the edges.
So
now, with that in mind, what's the second part?
we could send in like the elemental plus maybe a couple of other people to sort of in the area that we are to go to sort of draw orcs over that way to create a distraction to then bring Xanth into the camp. I don't know.
That's what I was typing. You could have the fire elemental attack one flank and have another couple of us sneak him in the middle camp.
So is that your part 2?
Sounds like a solid part 2 to me.
All right, then what's part 3 in getting inside?
On getting inside?
Yes, you have to get inside the camp.
Okay.
You have to get inside. You have to escort Xanth inside the camp because that's where he needs to be to do his thing.
I thought that
we were
was.
together.
I thought that was part of part 2. Was getting inside. Was we create distraction over here and create fire over here, while the other group over here is. Now that my hands are on screen, over here is getting inside, which in my mind makes part 3.
What the part 2 is the distraction, is setting it up so that enough orcs are paying attention to not where you're at, so that getting in somewhere else is possible. Part
So
3 is how are you getting inside? Are you disguising yourself? Are you doing straight stealth?
Yeah, we should probably
Else?
go back to the siege camp and grab some orcish type gear.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel
well,
like disguise is kind of a far-fetched idea because it's the amount of time and effort it would take to disguise a dark elf to look anything like an orc at all, unless we play her off as prisoner, kinda the Star Wars deal with the Wookiee.
None of us looks like an orc.
Huh?
None of us looks like an orc. I look like a dark elf.
Do
Look
any
like
of
a
us
tree.
even come close to fitting the? Well, I mean, are any of us even as bulky as an orc?
I
There
would
could be
say
some-
I am definitely as bulky as a orc with my
lots of gear.
ironbark armor.
There are many different types of body types with orcs. There can be skinny orcs, short orcs, tall orcs, fat orcs, very bulky, muscly orcs. Halfling is dubious. You can just pretend to be a backpack on somebody.
So I'd say
Or,
Get a
yeah,
piggyback
goblin.
ride underneath someone's cloak.
pick
Yes, there are goblins as well.
Okay, I'd say pick 2 of us to escort them in, trying to do the cloak thing and pass off the dark elf as a prisoner.
So which dark elf? The dark elf in the party or the one you're escorting?
The one we're escorting.
2 of them.
No, if we're pretending to bring a prisoner, wouldn't we distract part of the group that goes to put out the fire?
Well, that would give us a reason. If we're escorting a prisoner, that gives us a reason to not necessarily go put out the fire because we have a charge to deal with at that point. Would help if somebody barked an order at other lazy orcs to go put out that fire. We're guarding this elf scum.
We speak orcish.
Damn dirty ape, and then kick him.
Does anybody in the party speak orcish?
I do not.
No.
Yes, if nobody speaks orc, it's going to be rather more difficult
We could
to do that sort of thing.
We could simplify this and say that we are trying to sneak in.
Voting for sneaking. Or at least the sneakier parts of our party.
I mean, we can put on the sort of orc equipment and other things and then just try to sneak in.
If we're going for straight sneak, I can probably manage that. I'm really good for... I can walk softly, as it were. If I get confronted at all, if anybody notices me, I am screwed. I am not a finesse kind of woman.
Then hopefully no one will notice you.
So are you sneaking in for your plan 3?
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of throwing on some orcish armor just to help a little bit, and then sneaking in.
Yeah.
Over to.
Yep. Hopefully there'll be lots of chaos.
Okay. So let's see. So who wants to make the skill check roll for part one? Who wants to be taking the lead on setting up this, or this in this case, this is scouting around?
I'm going to throw out there that I am a ranger who is used to scouting, so I'll let you guys. Do you guys want me to do this or to help with the snake?
We also have a commando, the dark elf. So
I was going to say I don't know what you
Yeah,
guys'
do-
characters are,
do
so
one. We have a dark elf commando who's pretty good too. So
Well,
Wait.
and
We have a fighter, we have a cleric, we have a
Yeah.
rogue, and we have a druid, and now we have you.
okay.
I
So-
think I am a fairly decent scout, but I'm not going to be nearly as good as at sneaking. So
My character is an elven commando, so
that's-
So, you-
scouting that's his wheelhouse.
so we nominate you Scout. I nominate you Scout.
yeah, you can scout.
So,
Alright.
so Matt, is that the final choice? Is that your final answer? All right.
Yes.
All right, Matt, go ahead and make a background check. Add plus. Yeah. Let's do plus dex. Now, you're pretty good at sneaking around these orcs. You've been fighting them for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
There's, as you're kind of walking around the camp, you see a lot of their sentries. A lot of them are passed out. They've been drinking. They're just tired. They've been fighting each other, and just some of them take a few too many hits to the head. You see a few orcs, and they're sitting around a campfire. Most of them seem to be pretty out of it, but there is one of them seems to be wearing a helmet that it looks like it's dented. It looks like it's not in very good shape, but it's very clearly a pretty significant magical item. You don't know how this orc got a hold of it, but you imagine they took it from the body of probably one of the elven defenders that they've seen. The question is, do you want to risk causing trouble? Do you want to risk future endeavors to take away this magic item that the orc has? Because even if it's something that you might not necessarily want, you realize that orcs with magical items make for bad times for people fighting them.
Nope, he's not going to jeopardize the mission.
he's a true commando.
Boring. All right.
No, I can see the argument for going after the orc for the item to keep them from using it, target of opportunity. But
Players are so risk adverse. Okay. All right. So you.
no, that's really my character.
Well, that, and even if you weren't, players are really risk adverse. Trust me, I've played enough. I've GM'd enough to know that, given a choice between doing something safe and doing something exciting, players will 99% of the time take something safe.
My
That
players
is not really fun.
or they would have. Anna would know. Did they?
Yes, they did. In fact, take all chances.
That's good. At least somebody did. I'm sure Riven will be happy about that too. This was originally somewhat different, so the original conception of this whole encounter was considerably more elaborate and interesting, but it got changed. It was also a lot more complex, which is why it got changed. All right, so thanks to Tamir, you've got a pretty good idea where the sentries are, where the patrols are, which patrols are paying attention, which ones are just going through the motions, and that sort of thing. And you also have a pretty good idea of where the distraction would do the most good. So that being said, who wants to set up this distraction so you can sneak in from somewhere else? Who is taking the lead on this?
I think that's probably my job because I'm calling the fire elemental.
Okay.
That's my thought process.
Okay. So go ahead and roll me a background check. Let's see. Let's make this plus intelligence.
Uh-oh.
So you're trying to really pick their weak spots and where you think fire elemental will do the most good before getting snuffed out. Because let's face it, it is going to be snuffed out.
All right. So I rolled a 17.
All right. So you find you know the perfect spot for this,
Mhm.
and the problem is the perfect spot with this is that it looks like this is a place where they've been storing trophies that they've taken off of dead elves,
Mhm.
including what looks to be it's a badge that it's a very rare thing that's only given out directly by the Elf Queen. And unfortunately, if you send the fire elemental down here, it's probably going to destroy this very nearly priceless thing that the orcs have taken. The question is, do you just send it, or do you want to try to sneak in there and grab it, and then have your fire elemental cover yourself?
Because I'm trying to restore my honor and prove myself to the Elf Queen, I think Alizarin wants to try to sneak in and grab it so she can present it to the Elf Queen as a sort of as a special gift.
Okay.
To prove that not everybody's risk averse.
Okay. Having some non-risk averse is nice because it gets really boring when nobody is.
Yeah. So should I roll a sneaking
no, you
check?
don't even need to roll. You're able to grab this and run like hell.
Okay.
The orcs are dealing. They're too busy dealing with the fire elemental that you've summoned to cover your ass to really worry about you. On the other hand, now the orcs are aware that there's at least one elf out there who's poking around the campsite. So Ian will be slightly more difficult.
Okay.
On the other hand, you now have a magic item that you can use, at least for right now.
Okay.
And it's called the Badge of Enduring. I need another name for it. The Badge of Enduring Brotherhood, and it is basically it's a necklace that's composed of 3 different looks like oak leaves. One for each color of the elven the people of the elven court. One is obsidian to represent the dark elves. One is silver to represent the high elves, and one is jade to represent the wood elves. And let me try to cut and paste the actual. That's the effect. And the quirk is that you always think you smell like you're in the middle of a forest.
Well, that's actually cool. She likes that.
Yes. Which forest kind of depends. It might be pine forest, or it might be something else. But
Deciduous or
yes,
conifer?
pretty much, yeah. Deciduous or conifer. Or it could be, jungle for all you know.
Yep.
Yes, that would the mold would be the jungle variation. All right, so who's leading the way on the final task, the sneaking in?
I am very good at sneaking. I would like to nominate myself. Any objections?
I'm not gonna object because I'm not a sneak.
Caleb is also very sneaky. Does Caleb have objections?
Caleb is not necessarily very sneaky. He can just talk himself out of the situation if we get caught.
All right, fair enough. So, all right, go ahead and roll. Roll plus wisdom for this, Lloyd. It's not so much being sneaky as knowing when to move, when not to move, how to create a small distraction as you're going along.
Yeah, let me use my strengths, can you?
No. If I did that, it would be boring.
20.
It's incredibly difficult. It's one of the most difficult infiltrations you've ever had to do, not least because there are orcs poking around, talking about how much they'd like to catch that elf and put her over the fire. And if it was just you, it would probably not be terribly difficult, but getting everybody else through and keeping them concealed, especially considering your party is one larger with Xanth alongside, it's incredibly difficult. But barely, just barely, you manage to get into the camp far enough, and eventually Xanth puts his hand on your shoulder and looks around and says, "This is far enough. We can do what we've got."
Kind of that first day when Milan arrived at the military training.
Something like that. So Xanth looks at you guys and says, "All right, I'm going to start doing what I need to do. You guys go out and make some more, make a bigger mess out of what this is. Cover for me, and then we can all get the hell out of here." So everybody gets to roll. And everybody gets a choice as well. You can either do something difficult and cause more chaos, cause more mayhem in the camp, or you can do something easy that's probably not going to be as long-lasting in terms of harassing the orcs and keeping them distracted. Are there any prisoners? Do you want there to be prisoners? Yes, there are a few prisoners. Probably not a lot. These guys, this group hasn't engaged the elven army head-on yet. But yes, there are some prisoners. So let's go ahead and start. Let's start with Anna.
I am going to, because I am not risk-averse, not easy, and she is going to be basically having the forest. She's going to be calling forth the forest to try to aid her in fighting back the orcs. She's also going to summon an air elemental this time to sort of be a whirlwind, causing havoc around the camp. So she wants it to appear like the forest itself is fighting the orcs on their behalf.
Okay, that'll work. So go ahead and roll me a background check. Go ahead and make it plus wisdom to kind of make the forest, the land itself, rise up against these orcs in a. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That was terrible. So you try to get nature to rise up and just cause trouble for these orcs. You know it's probably not going to be able to do much. Unfortunately, the orcs themselves kind of defile the land that they're walking across. The nature is repressed and beaten down and just not a powerful thing with as many orcs as there are here. And you're unable to make the magical energies build up enough so that it's anything meaningful. And there it is, the squirrels. I swear, 13th age players are obsessed with squirrels.
They are.
I really need to finish statting those fucking things up. I keep forgetting.
I'm not sure that's 13th age characters. I think that's your friends. You have poor judgment in people.
Even people I don't know that play 13th age seems to have this obsession with squirrels.
Because squirrels are vicious.
The weirdest goddamn thing ever. I've written down 4 squirrel ideas that I need to stat up. Like,
Exactly.
Would it help if I changed over to penguins?
not at this point, no. Because squirrels are very established. Plus, I think people would be upset if it was penguins. Anyway.
I mean, okay.
So yes, you get a half dozen squirrels that aren't particularly. They're like the squirrels from Willy Wonka, but there aren't enough of them, and the orcs aren't a little girl, so it unfortunately doesn't do very much.
That's very little. Yep.
All right, Caleb, you're up next.
Okay. So Caleb's going to sneak around the camp to the different prisoner depots, if there's more than one, and is going to release the prisoners and encourage them to cause as much havoc as they can as well.
All right, and is this going to be a normal, or is this going to be a difficult one?
Let's make them scattered so it's more difficult.
Okay. So go ahead and roll your background check. Go ahead and make it. Go ahead and make it plus dex.
Okay. No, wait. I think so. 29.
All right. So there aren't a lot of prisoners, but you managed to sneak around and open up several of the pins you're in, and in addition, you're able to pick up a few, pick up enough weapons from sleeping or drunk orcs to hand out to them, so that they're gonna, as they claw their way back out, they're gonna be able to do a bit more damage than they otherwise might. So that's a success. Let's. Okay. Wait a minute, how the hell many are you? I've got 5 feet today. Come on. Okay. So that brings us to Brother Maynard. What are you doing?
Brother Maynard isn't super sneaky, and there's still a big fire in the middle of their camp, so...
Oh, there are lots of fires all over the camp.
Well, I'm talking more out of control fire. So, he's going to push over a pile of He's not exactly even sure what it is, whether it's food or munitions or clothing, supplies. He's gonna
With orcs, it could
add
be
fuel.
those things and all of those things.
Yeah. He's going to push over a big heavy pile of stuff into an out of control fire and help it spread.
Okay. Are you going to do this kind of safely, or are you going to do a whole bunch of chaos with this? Gonna kind of go out of your way to
He's
make a big mess.
He's making a big mess.
All right, so
Because let's face it, he's not super sneaky, so
okay.
he can't really do it the easy way. He's got to do it the hard way.
All right, go ahead and roll. I don't know what to roll. You had to pick something that's not easily categorizable. Make it a strength. I think this is about sheer. Ooh, I don't know. It didn't matter what. What you had. Okay. Unfortunately,
You're right there with
just
me.
not up to it. Right down there, I think is the correct term.
Yeah, right.
It's just not working out for you. You're dodging. You keep having to dodge orc patrols. The orcs that are nearby keep waking up and threatening to catch you, and eventually you're forced to kind of give up and rejoin everybody else at the base.
Yeah, well, that's, honestly, he didn't know how much good he was going to be able to do anyway, because this is not his kind of thing. He's a frontal assault kind of guy, not a sneak around kind of guy. He did the best he could.
All right, fair enough. All right, Lloyd.
Roger.
Oh boy.
So what are you doing, and are you doing it the safe way or the risky way?
Pretty much everybody else has done the risky way, haven't they?
Yeah.
So what are you doing, is the question.
I am going to look around and try to find little bits of rock, maybe arrowheads, anything that I can easily kind of palm and throw at orcs, and kind of sneak over to where the orcs are trying to put out the fires, and I'm going to try to pick out targets that have an orc behind them and throw it at like the back of their head or their elbow or somewhere that they're really going to feel it and it's going to sting, and try to incite some violence that way, where it's orcs fighting orcs in, like, why'd you hit me on the back of the head kind of thing. Does that make any sense at all?
That makes sense. All right,
Okay.
go ahead and roll plus dex.
Okay. And I'm going to follow the crowd for once in my life and do things the hard way.
Okay.
So I'm trying to go for maximum carnage here.
Okay.
There we go.
Let's see if you follow the crowd in terms of rolls.
22.
All right. Yeah, you can find all kinds of detritus and other crap that you can throw at the orcs. I mean, there's no shortage of little bits of trash and broken weapons and other things that you can chuck at the back of an orc's head. And your very first throw, you hit somebody that has a temper, and you didn't even need to prolong the prodding at that point. It devolved into a fight pretty quickly on. Not all the orcs are involved in that fight, but enough of them are involved that it's that those fires from the fire elemental they're not necessarily spreading very far, but they're not being put out yet either. So All right. So that leaves one last act of sabotage. What is Tamir going to do? And is he going to do it the safe way or the hard way?
I'm going to do it the hard way.
I've clearly got you guys' dander up about saying that players are receivers.
No.
It's definitely good to instigate.
He's going to go around the outskirts of the camp and try to lure sentries out and murder them.
Okay. So you're still doing. You said you're doing the hard way. So let's see. Go ahead and do plus wisdom on your background check. I think you're trying to find the right push button.
Oh!
Whoa!
Wow, you guys are.
He's down here with us.
No.
Down, down, down.
That was impressively bad. A 1, another 1, a 2.
These are the moments when I wish I was GM because I have something that would just be obnoxious for this one.
You should see. I'm using in another window the escalation die to keep track of how you're doing, and that's a lot of frowny faces.
Yep.
That you guys have accumulated.
Yep. We wouldn't have succeeded on the easy one, so it was okay that we weren't with the hard one.
That's true. None of you would have succeeded at. I mean, when you roll a 1 and a 2,
yeah,
you're not succeeding even on the easy, let alone the hard. All right. So, unfortunately, all you managed to succeed in doing
is pissing off a lot of orcs.
is pissing off all of the orcs. So you get a sentry and pull him into what you think is a quiet cul-de-sac, and then you murder the guy, and you look around and you realize that there's about 100 orcs that are around the area who are now suddenly looking at you. And yes, things just fell apart. Oh boy, did they fall apart. They run after you. Xanth finishes his spell, and it sets tons of tents on fire. Orcs are falling around all around. He seems like there's spider webs that are just sprouting from the ground and grabbing at their heels. But as pretty much as soon as Xanth finishes, they put like 20 arrows into him.
Uh-oh.
And you guys are in that way lucky because those 20 arrows otherwise would have hit you guys instead. So now at this point.
Oh, so succeeding at the skill challenge, we save him at the expense of all taking damage.
No, if you succeeded, nobody would have taken damage. If you succeeded well enough, it would have been like a Michael Bay movie. There would have been explosions going off behind you. You guys would be running towards the camera. You'd be dodging out of the way of popping up in front of you. All
the watermelon cart would be going in front of the orcs. It would all be good.
Yeah. Seriously, it'd be like that's how it was written, and I absolutely do not kid you. It was written to be that if you succeed well enough, it's like a Michael Bay movie. There are explosions, slow motion. It was hilarious. Unfortunately, a lot of that got toned down in the edit pass, but it was fucking hilarious.
They sent a guy in a walking tree suit to sneak around. What did they expect?
So now you guys get to run back out of camp through the fires, the flames, through the fires and flames. Thankfully, not an expert because that's really hard. And nobody's going to get that joke because nobody's a guitar hero. So, unfortunately, there are a lot of very angry orcs, and orcs don't deal well with surprises, and they're going to try to murder you because you're there. Very noble in that way.
Yeah.
So, 3, 2. So let's move you over to the correct map. You guys are all the way down at the bottom. And
I just need a minute to go get my tea.
yeah, let's go ahead and take a break. Take a short break. So everybody can go to the bathroom, do whatever else you need to do.
Get the tea.
Unfortunately, I can't play that. Otherwise, I'll get in trouble with the copyright people again. It's bad enough that the copyright bots find all kinds of other stupid shit to ding my account for. Which, thankfully, I've gotten most of them taken off, but the ones who are trying to copyright silence kind of pissed me off.
I'm sure if you think about it, you know what it is, Aaron.
The only thing I have going through my mind at the moment is a Final Fantasy theme, but that's because I've been playing a lot of Bravely Default the last couple of days. Either that or you actually did blink through the fire and flames.
Yes.
Oh, Dragon Force. Alright, we will pick up when everybody gets back. Actually, do I need more to drink? Yes. I will be right back, just like... Do not roll initiative until I ask, please.
Ah, there's a lot of orcs.
Okay. Let's see, who are we still missing? I said don't roll initiative until I ask.
I meant to turn on my microphone, not my camera.
Are we all back?
I can see almost everybody.
I can see, yes.
And I am back.
Really?
Yep. Totally there.
From the colloid. Alright, now that everybody's back, you may now roll initiative.
Most everybody else was front. I was back. I did it
You
right.
rolled it before, re-roll it this time.
Where is my hairbrush?
It's still not working.
Oh.
Being human is fun.
Being human is boring. You're human every day. Alright.
There are people that would debate that with you.
Probably true.
You're a monster!
And they would probably be true. Alright, top of round 1, escalation dies at Frowny Face. Zoe, you are up.
Do we have any clerics?
Yes. I told you that earlier.
Do they have leadership?
No.
Because I get. Here's the fun part. Since people have abused the leadership so much, there are more and more fights where raising the escalation die is not a good idea. If you guys had raised the escalation die a couple weeks ago, you probably would have died.
Well, that's not an option for this cleric, so.
In this case, yes, it's not an option. I'm just saying that, artificially raising the escalation die by taking the same cleric talents over and over again, it's going to bite you on the ass. But anyway, by all means, Zoe, continue.
Oh, that's top fine. Okay.
They are far away. You will need to double move to get to any of them.
That's fine by me. Let's see.
And actually, first, before you do anything, go ahead and roll a d6 for me, Lloyd.
2.
2, okay. May continue.
Am I waiting for everybody else to roll, or do I just keep...
You're going.
Okay.
I said continue, so you may continue.
Okay. Do any of the orcs stand out to me as being... Okay, I guess Orc Berserker 1 and 2 are significant as opposed to the rest of them?
They are more significant, yes. What the hell is that?
Move up over to right about there. And use my pull a ranged attack on Pit Spawn Orc 4.
Okay.
Ranged.
What kind of ranged attack? Are you yelling at him fiercely? Or are you throwing something at him?
Longbow.
She's peeing on him. It's a really impressive.
It's not a shotgun, I swear. Why did that not work? Escalation die is 0. 18 to hit.
18 will hit.
Okay, and because it was a natural even roll, that activates my double ranged attack.
Okay.
And I'm going to use my second ranged attack on Orc Spawn 7.
Okay. Yeah, he's a ranger.
And a 13.
That will miss.
Okay, so I did 20 damage to to number 4.
Alright, describe how he dies.
My arrow streams forward, and my aim was actually a little bit lower than I had wanted. It clips him on his inner thigh and severs his artery. He has about 4 seconds to scream in agony before he falls down in a lifeless mess.
Okay. Anything else?
Not at the moment.
Alright, Tamira, you are.
Alright. I'm going to fire at Berserker 2 using power attack. And does he count as the most dangerous or one of...
He is tied for the most dangerous. So I think in this case, for that particular ability, yes.
Okay. So... Yeah.
That'll miss. Which one did you attack? 1 or 2? I can't remember. Sorry.
2. But I get my power attack on the miss. Oh.
That was not impressive. I thought it could have been worse. Thank you.
I'm going to use my comeback strike.
Can you use comeback strike on an arrow attack?
Just as a fighter attack.
All right. Doesn't make any logical sense to me, but okay, whatever. All right, that'll hit.
And extra 1d4. So he takes 15, 44 total from the 2 attacks.
33.
And I'm going to use Cruel. Because I've never used Cruel.
Okay.
So now he's taking ongoing 20.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right. All right. Berserker 1. Gonna play with Zoe. Let's see. It's gonna be versus AC. 20 versus AC. Lloyd? Does that hit you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't hear that you were attacking me. I thought. Yes.
All right. You take 8 damage. Okay. Anyway. He's done. Brother Maynard, you're up.
I'm going to use my Invocation of Protection because a good time to keep my allies safe is escaping from a huge crowd of orcs.
And since there's no punishment for doing so, since you get a full rest up, regardless if it makes sense or not.
That's right, today is Sunday, isn't it?
Yes, I will continue to bitch about getting full rest up because it's a real pain in the ass.
And then I will use Spirits of the Righteous against Orc Berserker 1.
No, Wednesday doesn't get it because I say Wednesday doesn't get it. Which means I can actually wear you guys down. Jesus Christ.
Basically, when I stab it, it's
Did you actually get 2 attacks with that, Gordon?
No, it double clicked.
All right. So I'm sorry. Which were you attacking again?
I was attacking Orc Berserker 1.
Okay.
Nobody else is in range.
All right. All right. So you will obviously hit. He is staggered.
And I'm going to assume that Zoe has the lowest hit points of any nearby ally, so she'll get +4 AC until the end of my next turn.
Does that say current hit points or overall hit points?
It says lowest hit point nearby ally.
All right, so then
So it's current.
It's not current in the case. It's whoever in general has the lowest hit points nearby. Though I think it still is Zoe.
Mine are 56.
Yes, it's still Zoe. All right. Anything else from Brother Maynard?
He will kind of, well, if I can get him out of the... He'll kind of move over this way a little bit.
Okay.
And get into the fray.
Oh boy,
And then
alright.
he's done.
Alright, I'm just going to move all of them at once. Are you updating your character sheet repeatedly, Lloyd?
For what?
Are you updating your character sheet on Dropbox repeatedly?
I just updated it real quick to, well, I have my character sheet open, and I opened it from Dropbox. I just updated it to indicate the +4 to AC so I remember it.
Please don't do that. And this is something you have no way of knowing, but it stutters on the video feed on my end every time Dropbox tries to download shit.
Okay, duly noted.
Since it's a shared folder, every time you update it there, I get it.
Alright, I will remember that.
This feels just like last week. I'm enjoying it. All right, so let's see. Let's see. Pit spawns. How did they not? All right. So let's see. Zoe's being attacked twice. Brother Maynard is being attacked twice. Tamir is being attacked 3 times. And these are all going to be versus AC. So we're going to start on Zoe. 22 and 15. Then Brother Maynard. Oops. No, that wasn't quite how I meant to do that. Let's try 21 instead, and
Negative.
God damn it! My keyboard is not registering things correctly. And then 20, and then Tamir.
No. Yes.
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 24. Okay. So let's see. So I hit. Looks like I hit Zoe once. Gordon not at all. And then I crit Tamir twice, which doesn't actually count as a crit. I'm sad. Okay, so everybody who got hit, Zoe, you take 5. You take 11, Tamir.
I take 5 even though neither of them hit.
I thought you said you got hit.
No, I didn't.
When I said it at 22, you said yeah.
No, I shook my head no.
Keep in mind, when I'm rolling these things, I'm not looking at the screen.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at stat blocks.
My base AC is 20, and then the +4 to AC that I just received from the invocation means that right now my AC is 24.
Okay.
So neither of them hit.
Alright, so in that case, just 11 on Tamir. And two, that's them. Caleb, you're up.
Caleb is going to take a tumbling strike on his spawn or 5. So I'm going to run up to him, engage and attack, and then try to disengage afterwards.
Okay.
My screen is crazy. There we go.
So, are you gonna do what you're doing?
Yes.
Her screen went funky.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So,
Yes, I don't think that's gonna work.
okay. So I'm going to do a disengage check. With a +5.
Okay.
Wow. So that would be a
Damn.
10.
Well, my
In that
chance.
case, no, you're not disengaging. So you were engaged with Pit Spawn Orb 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you are still there. Anything else from Caleb?
No.
Alright. Berserker 2. Gonna muscle his way in. Over here. Is going to go after. Was it Tamir that shot him? It was, wasn't it? Okay. Tamir's getting it.
Before he takes his 20 ongoing damage.
Yes.
Because that goes at the end.
Yes.
No, I was saying before he takes his 20 ongoing damage, he'll try and get shot in.
Alright.
I'm really angry at you.
Oh, yeah. 2. Okay. 22 versus AC.
That's just gonna hit.
Alright. Take 8 damage. He takes his 20 and goes down to 0.
You said how much?
I'm trying to figure out how this works.
He then.
Okay, I see how this works. So, he looks so angry that he actually ignores the damage you've done from Cruel. He actually looks better, just a bit. Okay.
How much damage did he do to me?
What's that? He did 8.
8.
But he does not. It is ongoing, so he's still under your cruel power, however that's described. And Alizarin, you are up.
Leave
Alizarin is gonna call forth an air elemental to help sort of sweep their path in front of them. So I think I roll a save, right, to see, and so it kind of doesn't matter. It's going to come at the end because it'll come after me because I'm at the end. Do you have a token for an air elemental?
I think I do. Hold on. I keep forgetting to put in more elementals.
It has 26 hit points.
Let's see. Fire. That'll work. $26. course. Okay. It is on. You should be able to control it and edit it.
Alright. Oh, wait a minute. I'm on the wrong thing.
Click the draw button again.
Yep, I know. There we go. But I'm going to move up sort of near it to offer it some protection a little bit. And that'll be the end of my turn. And then it is its turn. It's going to do its Swirling Winds attack.
Okay. On who?
It's a 1d3 random nearby conscious enemies.
Okay.
So, 1. I rolled like crap. So, 1 nearby enemy, 13 versus BD.
I'm sorry, my computer froze there for a second. Roll me another d6, please, Anna. Let's see what the random enemy is. Okay, 4 going to be. It's going to be one of the pit spawners. 13 versus physical defense. That'll miss.
Yeah, I expected so. Rolling like champs.
Miss damage.
It does not do any miss damage.
It does not do miss damage. Okay.
That's correct.
God damn it! I keep forgetting to do that. All right.
And just
all right.
And just for your information, just so you know when you roll, it has resist weapon damage 16 plus.
Okay. Alright, top of round 2, escalation die is at 1. Lloyd, roll me a d6 that everybody should be rolling, that I keep forgetting about.
2.
2, alright, continue.
I am going to attempt to disengage from all 3 of the people that I'm involved with.
Alright, you will need a 13 or higher.
14 or higher. Okay, I thought so.
Alright, you're fine.
I'm going to back up to over here. And decide that Spawn Orc 12 is my prey of choice. So the crit range on him is increased +3, so if I get a 17 or higher, I crit on him, and if he's a mook, his entire mook group.
Okay.
Alright, so ranged attack, that's, let's see, escalation die is a 1. And 20.
Uh, 20 will... 20 should hit. 20 does hit. For 22 damage. Okay. Alright, describe how... You said you were attacking 12, right?
Correct.
Alright, describe how he dies.
This time I take a little bit better aim, and am shooting straight for his heart. And sure enough, my arrow flies true and inserts itself right between his ribs, completely, just completely tearing his heart to shreds. And he convulses once, grabs his chest, and then falls over backwards as his knees give out.
Okay. Anything else? I don't think you have anything else. Anything else from Zoe?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Tamir, roll a d6. Alright, continue. You guys are rolling entirely too many 2s on that roll. Stop that.
After this game, are you willing to explain to us whether or not that...
You will know. If you guys roll anything but a goddamn 2, you'll know.
Oh.
It's something that everybody should have been rolling before their turn. And I just forgot. The only one I remembered was you, Lloyd. But everybody should be rolling that before they start their turn. Anyway, Tamir, you have a lot of playmates.
On the pit spawn orc, I'm going to make a sword attack, and I'm going to use my second power attack on that.
Okay. Uh, 22 will hit. Go ahead and roll your power attack damage.
Oh.
Let's see.
You. It's about 50. It's 50%, but
9, 10. Okay. So describe how you've killed all 3 of these. All the ones I just moved, they're all dead. So.
all right. He whips out his one short sword in one hand, and lashes out at the orcs, slashing arteries in their arms and legs, and disembowels one.
Okay. That'll work. Anything else from Tamir?
I'll try to disengage.
Alright. Roll away. Nope. Okay. Orc Berserker 1 is no longer engaged with anybody. He's going to go play with Zoe some more. That's going to miss. Brother Maynard, you are up.
Brother Maynard will swing his cudgel at the remaining pit spawn orc in his face.
17 will hit. 25 damage. Which means there are. So he goes down. Two. And let's see. Pick one, 2 or 6.
Let's say 2.
Alright, describe how both of them die.
Well, he smashes the face in for the first one, and then he holds his arm out, and his ironbark armor shoots a javelin in between the eyes of number 2.
Yeah, you were right, Brandy. You should have rolled a d6. Go ahead and roll a d6 for me, Gordon. Let's see if it would have changed anything.
I'll do.
Let's see. In this case, I don't think it's going to change much. But there is, from all the fires, there's thick smoke in the air. Gordon, you're going to have a -2 penalty to ranged attacks till the end of your next turn.
Okay.
I'm sorry, to the start of your next turn, so it doesn't matter at all. And-
since I didn't make a ranged attack.
yeah, pretty much. Anything else from?
I'm done.
All right. How many fucking pit spawns do I still have left? All right, not very many. I'm gonna move some of the dead ones out of the way. I need room. I'll put them back where I found them. Don't worry. Let's see. It's gonna be enough. You're just closer. So let's see. We have 2 attacks. 1 attack on Caleb, 2 on Brother Maynard, and 2 on Tamir. So let's see. So first on Caleb, 15. Brother Maynard, 19. Brother Maynard,
Negative
21.
on both.
Tamir, 23.
Hit.
And 12.
Miss.
So take 6 damage, Tamir. And that's all. Alright, Caleb, you are up.
Caleb is going to take the feint. He's going to attack his first enemy.
I can barely hear you.
Oh, sorry. Slick
Sound
feint.
very cool.
We're hearing you through Lloyd's mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. If I did mine, it'd be
If I did mine, it'd be a possible echo.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, hold on.
Okay. I'm gonna do slick feint.
Okay.
A second. First one was 12. Oh, wait.
Just barely. Actually, yes. Roll your d6. I need to know this.
3.
No, everything's fine.
Okay.
So 3 barely
So the
hit.
first one,
Who does the second one even target? There's nobody else engaged with you.
it's gonna be pit spawn orc 1.
Even though he's not engaged with you?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be engaged with me as far as I know.
No.
I was gonna use a ranged attack, like by throwing knife. This is one engaged enemy.
Second target is a different enemy from the first target that is engaged with you. So you can still make the slick feint, but you don't get the second attack.
Okay.
So either way,
12 against
Not
no
that-
defense against the
not
first
that
one.
it matters. You're gonna kill both of them anyway. Just by virtue of being mooks, you're killing both of them. I just wanted to look at it and make sure I understood how the power worked. All right, so describe how they both die.
Caleb takes his sword and guts the first pit spawn. As the first pit spawn falls, he sees he's got a clear shot at pit spawn orc 1. He takes out his throwing blade and throws it, hits him right between the eyes.
Okay. Anything else from Caleb?
That'll be it.
All right. Orc Berserker 2 is still engaged with Tamir. Still very angry. Very angry. So take 8 more damage, Tamir,
That'll do.
and then he dies from the bleeding.
Punctured lung.
He bled enough for 2 people. You're not sure how that really worked, but there's these gallons of blood. It's like an anime movie. And I can take him off. Alright. And... Oop, I'm sorry. Alizara, and you're up. That was my bad.
No.
Roll your d6.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't roll my d6. Or I didn't go. Never mind. That was me getting attacked.
I got a 3 for the d6.
Does it do anything?
And then I will roll my... where's that at? Well, just looking. I'll roll my Elven Grace. It's a 1, so I get 2 actions. So the first thing I'm going to do is call down ruination upon all of their heads.
Okay.
It attacks the creature with the highest nearby creature with the highest MD.
That's really not saying much, but okay.
Yeah, I know, but just so you know. It's a 23, and then it does 19 damage to all nearby enemies if it hits, but mooks count as one enemy. So if there's a pack of...
Let's see.
It just stopped trying when I heard you.
Alright, you're already dead. You're still alive, but you're about to be dead, so... Oh, bloody hell. So I got an invite on Steam to go play something. I don't think I can right now, thank you. Not least considering I don't own the game. Jesus. So for a moment it looks like your magic killed the berserker, but he somehow manages to stay on his feet.
Yep.
Orcs, that's... God damn it, where is my lead orc? There it is. Orc spawn 6 is dead. Orc spawn 10 or 11. Pick one.
10.
Okay. So pit spawn orc 10 is also dead. Good God, Mark. I don't have the game. Stop sending me the invite. Okay. So describe how all those people die. Or
So, well, it appears that the debris that's scattered about the camp sort of rises up and is sort of in a whirlwind, part of the swirling winds because of and smacks them in the head, killing them.
Okay.
Then I use my quick action, because I forgot to do it last time, to go into my leopard stance. Not that it'll matter much. Then I use my move action to move over to this... Oh, actually, before I do that, I use my second standard action to cast Ruin. Or Rumble, sorry, is what it's called. And then I move over to the Berserker orc and engage him. And now he takes a certain amount of damage from being engaged with me when I end my turn.
Okay.
This lasts for the battle, by the way. There it is. He takes 12 thunder damage.
And this was on who, I'm sorry?
On that Berserker, I moved over to him.
Okay.
So now there's sort of a shimmering field of energy around me.
Which zaps him like a bug,
That was the plan.
and he falls to the ground.
And then I end my turn.
Alright.
So now it's the Air Elemental's turn.
I forgot about the air elemental.
Yeah, he's technically a different creature.
Is there anything left?
I think there's a couple left.
I see one.
He's going to try his whirlwind transformation. He does not transform. He'll move around if I can to like here to try to again clear a path for everybody, and then he'll do his swirling winds again.
Okay.
It's 3 nearby random enemies.
Doesn't matter. There is only one random enemy that you can even hit, and unfortunately you missed him. So.
Yep. That's what he does.
Okay. So top of round whatever, escalation dies at 2.
Yep.
So that would mean it's round 3. Zoe, roll d6, please.
Alright, I'm going to range attack on pit spawn orc 11.
Okay.
Big shot. Escalation die is 2.
That'll hit. Describe how he dies.
Okay.
All day.
I am apparently working my way up the body, and remember the thing that my master told me, the one that taught me the archery. The quickest way to a man's brain is through his eye socket. So I plant a sprouter straight in his squinty little eye, and he just kind of topples over, plumage sprouting from face. Let's say sprout one more time. Sprout.
Okay. I think we get the point. Alright, fight's over. And as those of you reading the chat might have realized, that fight was supposed to be twice as hard as it was. I don't know if that was how it was originally designed or if it got messed up in the editing pass. But that, I mean, seriously, it was half as difficult as it should have been.
I was thinking that was a little bit too easy for a level 4 fight.
You know, when the fight started, after that, before the first round was even over, I was looking at that going, that doesn't seem right. And when we were in between, I think when somebody was deciding what to do, I did the math real quick. And yeah, it's, given the way you build 13-stage encounters, you're supposed to have, there should have been 5 points, so to speak, worth of enemies for you guys to have an even fight. This was 2.8.
Yeah. That's I think when I did it on Wednesday, they still had Xanth alive, and they were having to move him across the camp, which was slowing them down. And there was at least a part that said that more enemies kept showing up, so more enemies kept getting him across. They were paying like past the football.
Yeah.
Because at least.
The two berserkers, which I thought were supposed to be kind of the main enemies, were very nearly dropped in a single hit each. Seemed a little bit wonky.
Yeah, it's again, I'm not sure if that was just how it was, how that originally was put together, or if it got changed in the editing pass. Because again, I didn't write this adventure. I wrote 1, 2, and 4. Griffin wrote the others. I'll ask Griffin because I've got to talk to him anyway. But that should have been twice as hard. Even when you factor in Xanth potentially being alive and having to account for that, that should have been considerably more difficult than it actually was.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that, but when you consider that the berserkers were nearly dropped in one hit, it was actually a significant firepower that hit them.
There's that, and the fact that you pretty much neutered types of enemies with the protection thing, Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
Because both pit spawns and berserkers are predicated on crits.
Yep.
And without that, it still would have been a really easy fight for you guys, but at least I would have done a little bit more damage. But not that much. But either way, circle protection. The fact that you can use dailies as liberally as you can in organized play really chafes the shit out of me. I know I've ranted about it before, but it means that I have to make, when we're writing, we're making these encounters much more difficult than we otherwise would, because otherwise there's no challenge to be had. And unfortunately, when you make the encounters much more difficult, that means that it's considerably more easy for random luck to play a factor to make a difference in the fight, because if it's a considerably more difficult fight, if you guys as players have a bad luck streak and I have a good luck streak as a GM, you're fucked that much faster. Whereas if it's a more even fight, it's the effect of luck is still there, but it's not quite as pronounced. And unfortunately, sometimes the only way to get you guys challenged, because you can blow dailies like crazy, is to make really difficult fights. And because there's no way to wear you guys down as it stands within the context of organized play. Even if you guys had run into the other fight.
Is it possible in these kinds of games to set it up to where we start the adventure, like this storyline, and whenever you use your daily, that daily is spent until the end of the adventure, or maybe the midway point, and when somebody comes in...
Doing it to the midway point might work. Doing it through the entire adventure is going too far the other way, because then it penalizes you too badly. Because each adventure is likely going to be somewhere between 6 and 18 fights, depending on how many you actually get into.
Right.
And if you end up getting into a lot of fights because your
skills don't work out.
Yeah, it's per session recharge is something that I might talk to Ash about, doing something to allow some sort of ability to wear you guys down, because it's really frustrating both as a GM and a writer to know that no matter what I write, no matter what I run, you guys are going to be able to drop down whatever the hell you guys want at least once. Because even in a full organized play adventure, you're never going to get into more than 3 fights. Most times it's only going to be 2. And you guys know that. So that means that for instance, Gordon can drop his protection thing pretty much whenever he wants, and nullify a lot of the challenge in a fight, and make that fight really easy.
I think one thing to note, though, it also, I think we're kind of at the top of the orc, if the effectiveness of orcs as a opponent, as far as levels of the various orcs. I couldn't use orcs really much at all for a level 6 encounter I did.
I wouldn't use orcs for a level 6 encounter. You can make, to be fair, you can make orcs whatever the hell level you'd like, and I have. You can make interesting and difficult orcs. The problem is that this fight, for example, was level 3 mooks, so 1 level lower than you, and not even considering the incremental advancements you've taken, and level 2 regular enemies. So all of these enemies are lower level than you, which means that they don't do the damage that they're expected to do. That means their defenses aren't as high as something that might challenge you. It means their hit points aren't as high as might challenge you.
The incremental advances are another thing that mess, especially if you've got any spellcasters in your group.
Yeah.
Then it's Well, okay, now every encounter, your spellcaster is dishing out probably a level 5 at will.
Yeah, and the fact that the incremental advancements are something that we're taking, or at least I'm taking into account as a writer. So, I mean, like this past week, I've been writing the third adventure in the second and third adventures of the next season. And when I was designing the encounters, I was sitting here thinking, at this point, I imagine I have to guess that at least half of the no, I know we're still online. We're not done yet. I'm just bitching online because I can. Sorry. But either way, that's something that I have to take into consideration, that there's a good possibility that at least half of the people playing have had at least one incremental advance. That may not necessarily be true, but it makes a really big difference, especially at 4th level, where taking a 5th level incremental advance is a huge deal.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I mean, it's not a lot in terms of if you're taking like skills, or if you're, but you're taking at that point champion level feats. Your hit points increase greatly if you take that advance. Your powers, if you're taking a powers advance, increase greatly. And so it makes a really big difference if you're at level 4 and you're taking incremental advance. And it's. I guess it's just one of those things that we need to adjust for and we need to learn as part of the organized play program. Because I don't know how many of the other writers actually play on a regular basis in the organized play stuff. I think Ash might, but I'm not sure. But either way, I mean, these are things that I'm learning as we're going. And I don't know if we're getting feedback to that effect from other people. But it's something that we're going to have to learn from and adjust, because it's, I mean, sometimes there are fights like this where it's just crappy. For me as a GM, and for you guys were never challenged.
Yeah.
You got beat up a little bit, but you were never, ever in any real threat, especially once Gordon put the protection up. Any potential threat was all gone, period. At that point, it was just a matter of grinding it out. You guys were never not going to win this fight.
You could have a collection.
Well, and concerning the daily reset on everything, one of the classes that can really, really take advantage of that in a hard way is the cleric. Because as a buff cleric, all your cure wounds, hammer of faith, shield of faith, and bless are all dailies.
Mm-hmm.
It's a daily recycle, and we recycle every single time. I walk into a fight as Emma, and I pop off every single round a different buff that hits everybody in the party.
And even if you're not using them all in one fight, that still means that one fight you can use a couple, another fight you can use a couple, and they can be big fight-changing things. And that's part of why on Wednesday when I play with you guys don't get a full rest up as much, because it allows for some genuine challenge for you guys to get worn down. You have to manage your resources a little bit. You have to think about what you're using and when, and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
But it's something that we haven't found a good way to emulate in Tales yet, and I genuinely think we really need to. And it might be another one of those things that I get into an argument about, but it's something that I think that needs to be done, because even within the limitations of organized play, and knowing that there are reasons that this is being done the way it is, I think there still needs to be some adjustments and some changes.
I liked the there was the thing in the last season going through the castle, and it explicitly said if somebody uses a daily power, they just succeed.
Yeah.
Which is good, because that had some ridiculous difficulty. It's just all the 30 difficulties are absurd.
Yeah, 30 is really difficult to do.
But that was one way to, as long as you have to tell the players ahead of time that you have to tell them the metagame that okay, you use a daily power that fits the situation, and you don't have to roll, but that could encourage people to spend those abilities.
Yeah, I think we need to find something, because I think even though I understand the reasoning behind a full rest up before every session, I genuinely do understand the reasoning. That
We've
does
seen it at our store without the full heal up,
Yeah.
and they got through it, but I think there were shenanigans.
and here's the thing: if I were just any other person running organized play, I would totally fucking not do a full rest up. However, since I am an official representative of Fire Opal, I don't feel like I should be doing that. I think I should be hewing reasonably close to how things are expected to be for everybody. Otherwise, yes, I would say, no, hell no, you didn't get a full rest up. You didn't. You were busy. You were fighting. You were doing all this other stuff. You didn't get a full rest up. You, like, for example, between session 1 and 2, you totally wouldn't have gotten a full rest up. Admittedly, you probably would have gotten one between 2 and 3. But I would put the full rest ups where they seem more narratively appropriate. But like I said, since this is kind of the official game, I don't feel that I should be veering off course too badly, and I think it's something that needs to be addressed at a more fundamental level in terms of how the seasons are put together, how the adventures are put together.
Just as a note on what I think it was Gordon said about inciting people to use their dailies outside of combat, that can be kind of a double-edged sword, because my character, my ranger, and I think even my fighter in my Wednesday game, we do not have dailies. There are no dailies for me to use.
I thought about that with because this character is like that. My paladin.
A lot of characters don't have dailies, but the ones who do, they can really use them. They can use them like crazy. If you're playing a wizard, you're playing a sorcerer, you're playing a cleric, you can drop down a lot of stuff that you otherwise might have to think about, and you don't necessarily have to think twice about it very much in order to play. You can always bust out your best stuff.
I was just thinking that in a situation like what he described, where you have to use a daily in order to be able to surmount something, that kind of leaves my character neutered a little bit, because if I don't have a daily, whereas if...
Well, I don't think you have to.
I never meant have to. I just meant it as an option, and then I happen to point out the 30 difficulty things that as a side. But I never meant that you put something in front of the players that they can only pass by dropping a daily.
Right.
I was kind of distracted by baby coming into the room, so I caught about half of what you said, and just wanted.
I never meant put something in front of somebody that they have to spend daily to surpass.
Yeah, that wouldn't be.
I just meant the options.
It be a misunderstanding. I apologize.
Don't roll automatic success.
But anyway, let's go ahead and finish up here, and then we can blabber as we need to. There's not much left, but let's go ahead and wrap up. So you guys head back towards Briarfort and the elven encampment themselves. Let's go ahead and wrap. I'll go ahead and move you over. It'd be nice to look at. And you come up across a bridge across a. You can't really call it a river. It's not big enough for that, but a creek, a stream, something. And there's an elven outpost on the other side. And you going across the bridge in another direction. There's actually a few elves, and something about them. All of you notice is not quite right. They're not dressed in the livery of Briarfort. It's actually, you're not sure what units or place that they're from. Alizarn, actually both Alizarn and Tamir. You thought you guys were both relatively familiar with the orders and the military units that the Elf Queen has, but you don't seem to recall what these are. But they're passing. They pass right past you. They brush past you. They don't say anything to you. And they just walk past in silence. They kind of give you some strange looks, but nothing. But aside from that, they don't. Nothing overt.
And if we try to sort of not yell out, but quietly hail them, do an elf signal like a whistle or something, a bird call, do they respond?
They just keep walking. It's like almost like they didn't even hear what you did.
That would.
Do any of them notice the badge of friendship that
they pay attention? Aside from some kind of glares that a couple of them give you, it's almost like they're almost like they don't look at you at all. Like they're not acknowledging your presence.
I stop and challenge them, ask them what unit they're from.
They look at you, and one of them stops and says, "We don't need to answer to you. We have our own mission. Stay out of our way."
Can I run a background check and see if I recognize anything about their garb or their uniforms that might indicate who they're allied with or what their mission might be, or...
Yeah, you can go ahead and roll.
Alright. Would that be wisdom or... Never mind, wisdom and intelligence is the same thing on me.
Yeah, it'd be intelligence anyway.
I want to see. I'm one of the Queen's special operatives, so I would.
22.
I could notice. I could.
Nothing seems familiar. So.
Okay.
And before terribly long, they are past all of you.
Where does it look like they're heading?
You're not sure. Going back that way is the orc encampment, so they could be scouts. They could be doing just about anything back there, but you're not sure. And then they're gone.
I got a bad feeling about these elves.
Yeah, should we follow them? I'm concerned.
They did not seem overtly hostile towards us. And I see no particular reason in our current predicament to go seeking fights that aren't necessarily ours.
They are elves. Even those of you who actually are elves know how elves can be sometimes. And it might just be one of those things that look at Red Mantle.
Yeah.
He's a pain in the ass, and he's an elf.
I'm not going to force the issue if the party feels otherwise, but
Tamir is definitely
something is
Well,
something doesn't feel right to Brother Maynard, and he expresses that, but if the party wants to move on, he's not going to object to moving on. He just because obviously, I mean, he doesn't have the experience that the elves in the party do with dealing with elves, so he thinks that it might be cultural differences that might be throwing him off, but he
Tamir knows that the Elf Queen has secret units and stuff, and he knows he wouldn't necessarily know the other ones. They're secret, but he's suspicious.
Well, I think we should at least inquire when we get back if we're doing nothing about it now. See who these if anyone will tell us.
Not a bad idea.
Okay.
that's fine. That's
Not a bad idea.
fine. That's fine with me.
So you guys can report that in next week when we play. Speaking of next week, did you guys want to try to do a double session to catch up next week? You think you'll be able to?
What is next week?
What is next week?
Next week,
The week after this one,
Ah.
20-something.
Ah.
the 25th. Next week, it should be the 25th.
Oh, next week is Memorial Day.
Yeah.
In that case, let's aim for the 1st and do a double session then. Hopefully a couple weeks will give you guys the chance to clear space on your schedules for...
I'm okay with it. I was just pointing it out.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm fine with...
Next week we'll just do a regular session, and then on the 1st we'll do a double session. I think it'll be narratively better anyway.
And we're
Because 5 and
moving to 3 o'clock from here on out?
yes, 3 o'clock from here on out.
Eastern.
If I do the old time, it's just habit, but keep in mind that it'll be an hour later than it was before.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
And for this incremental advance, I think I'm going to do hit points, just so I'll tell you now.
Okay.
So that will increase my hit points by 20 to 84.
Okay.
I'm going to do the skill incremental advance.
All right. Anybody else doing hit points that I need to know about?
Like Lloyd, maybe? I'm not sure if Lloyd is actually alive or Memorex.
They both got
It would seem that the internet has gone down at Lloyd's place, considering we just lost Lloyd and Brandy.
Yeah.
Alright, I updated my macros.
I'll get their stuff next week. I think that's. Other than that, I think we're done. Is there any questions, comments, concerns?
Nothing for live, but once we're offline.
Yeah. All right. In that case, everybody say goodbye to our viewers.
Goodbye, viewers.
Goodbye, viewers.